Hi, Tilty Carlson here. I've talked about Pokemon cards on my channel a few times before, and GameStop has actually partnered with PSA, Professional Sports Authenticator, one of the best companies for grading cards, to offer this service on a wider scale to people who may have Pokemon cards in their collection they want to get graded and evaluated. Now, if you're not familiar with the process of getting cards graded, this is something that's also done for collectibles like comics and video games as well. And essentially, the way it generally works is your card is rated with a value up to 10, 10 being the best, of course. There's three major grading companies: PSA, CGC, and Beckett. There's a ton of others as well, but these are like the big three. And it's good to see that GameStop actually partnered with PSA because I had a lot of cards that I wanted to get graded. Keep in mind, I was buying these cards back when I was 14 years old, way back in 1999, so I have some that I've heard might be pretty valuable, so I decided to take some of my cards to GameStop and get them graded. So this is just going to be a video talking a little bit about me going through this process as well as my thoughts. So the basic pricing for this, it costs approximately $20 to get one card graded. There's a $10 flat shipping fee for your order. You may have to pay an additional fee if your cards are determined to be over a certain value. And then, of course, you have to pay that fee when you get your cards back eventually. For my inaugural attempt at doing this at GameStop, which I really wanted to do because just going to the PSA site directly is a little complicated and confusing to someone like me, this certainly seemed a lot simpler, easier, and there's a GameStop on every corner, so that certainly doesn't hurt things in. The 6 cards that I decided to have graded were as follows. From the Japanese Media Factory set, I have Koga's Ninja Trick. This card was actually censored on later releases because it has a manji, which is a Japanese symbol of good fortune. Unfortunately, many people have mistaken it for a swastika, which is actually the reverse of a manji. The next card I decided to have get graded was my Japanese Misty's Tears. This card was somewhat controversial because it depicts Misty in the nude on the card, although the nudity is not sexual in any way, but of course people turn their heads nonetheless, and the American release has totally different artwork. Red Cheeks Pikachu, which is actually the rarer variant of the Pikachu card. Celebrations Charizard, which is a reprint of a card from the original base set. Shadowless Venusaur from the base set. And then, of course, my big card, Shadowless Charizard from the original Shadowless base set. So I took my cards to GameStop. This was around the middle of April. I don't remember the exact date off the top of my head. But I went in, and you do need to have penny savers for your cards. If you don't, you can buy those right in the store. So I did have to pay probably like $5 to get some penny savers. And then, of course, about $20 per card. I had a $5 off coupon, plus you get half off if you are a pro member, which I am. So that knocked out the shipping. So that was kind of nice. And then they took my cards. I went ahead and paid the money. And they said that I'd probably get them back in approximately 45 days. If you go on the website, you can check your order, and it shows the status of your order, where in the process it is. Are they still at the store? Have they been shipped? Has PSA received them? Are they undergoing the grading process? Have they been graded? Have they been shipped back to the store? Have they arrived at the store? It's a handy tool for gauging that. So, of course, after that, it became a matter of the waiting game. Now, they estimated 45 days, which is approximately a month and a half. It took nearly 3.5 months before I got my cards back. However, I have heard that prior to all of this going on, PSA, before their partnership with GameStop, was taking, at one point, over a year to grade cards, so 3.5 months isn't too bad by comparison. And eventually, this probably would have been about a week or two ago, early August, so it took me approximately 3.5 months to get the cards back, and I went and picked those up. I did find out that I had to pay a $41 upcharge because, of course, one of my cards was found to be above that certain level that your cards can't be above if you're getting them graded, but I figure that just means the card's going to be worth a lot. So I did get my cards back. I have them now, and now we're going to take a look and see how these cards graded, as well as the estimated values that appear on the PSA website. And I do know that PSA can sometimes be pretty strict with their grading process, so I was anticipating getting cards that were probably graded around a 2 to a 4, but I didn't get a single card back that was rated below a 6, which kind of surprised me, given that these cards are like 25 years old and had been sitting in a box and plastic sleeves for years. But I guess that preserved them better than I thought. So, going down the list, first up we have Koga's Ninja Trick, the original uncensored version of the card. This came back as a PSA 7. Next up, we have Misty's Tears from the original Japanese expansion with the original Japanese art. And this actually got a PSA 8. So estimated value of this card, $98.07. Again, not half bad. And next, from the original American Shadowless base set, I have Pikachu, the rarer Red Cheeks variant. This one came back as a PSA 6. Estimated value for this card, $44.75. And that was actually the lowest value on any of these cards, and that still is nothing to scoff at. Next up, we have Celebrations Charizard, by far the newest card that I have, because it's a reissue of an older card. Being a fairly new card, this actually got a PSA 9, so this is the highest PSA rating card that I got back. Again, not quite a perfect 10, but pretty close. And this card, even though it's a reissue of a popular card, the Celebrations Charizard estimated value, PSA 9, $96.32. Not half bad at all. And now we get into the big guns here. I have my Shadowless Venusaur from the original base set. This came back at a PSA 6. Again, not half bad at all. The estimated value for this card, Shadowless from the original base set, $206.49. Very nice. And then we come to the granddaddy of them all, the one I was waiting on the most, and the one I was, of course, dreading getting graded because I was worried it might not get a high PSA score, Shadowless Charizard. But this did get a PSA 6, which was pleasantly surprising, given that I thought all of these were going to get like 2 to 4s. Estimated value for the PSA 6 Shadowless Charizard, and this, of course, is the one I had to pay the upcharge on. But the estimated value of this on PSA's website, $1,107.66. So that brings the grand total value of these cards I had graded to $1,615.53. Now, we add up my expenses. I had to pay $120 to get these graded. The shipping was knocked off because of my coupons and pro status. The $41 upcharge was knocked down to $35 due to a $5 monthly coupon and a $1 coupon I had, and then $5 for the penny savers. So my grand total in expenses was roughly $176. And when I subtract that from the total value, my total potential profit for these cards is $1,559.33. Again, the math is probably not perfect, but that's a pretty rough ballpark estimate of what these are worth after my expenses. So right about in the mid $1,500 range, and that's not half bad at all. This was my first time going through this process with GameStop, and I would certainly do this again. I've heard people say a lot of negative things about GameStop, and while some of those may possibly be true, I had absolutely no bad experiences with this process. It was quick and painless, getting in and out of the store when I needed to be there. Probably the only minor complaint is that it did take a little longer than I was hoping it would, but again, that's still a lot shorter than the year plus people were waiting to have stuff graded by PSA. And there is the potential fear that because people are getting more cards graded, this may saturate the market, but as is, I'm glad that they've actually made this more accessible, and it's a great partnership with PSA, probably the best known of the grading companies. So, how about you? What do you think of this concept of PSA partnering up with GameStop? Have you gotten any cards graded with them? What were your estimates? For the record, I did not sell any of my graded cards to GameStop, but if you had that experience, maybe share that here. Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to this channel for more content because I'm always posting new videos, and make sure you give this one a like if you found it helpful. I'm T. Carlson. See you next time.